for our playlist going strong. We are here with Mr. Prakash Singh, a very senior police officer of the Indian Police Service, belonged to the UP cadre. He earned high acclaim for his professional excellence, clear vision, dynamic leadership, courage, integrity and high values for which he is still respected. He won numerous awards, and talking to Mr. Singh today, my first question to him would be that he had a very illustrious career in the Indian Police Service from 1959 to 1994. I am sure it was a fulfilling innings, but would still like to ask him, has he got any regrets, or does he feel that there was anything which he perhaps could have still liked to achieve?
There is no end to achievements. You would always want to do more, but if I were to look upon my career in retrospect, I would say it was a very fulfilling, very satisfying, very rewarding period that I had. And I'll put it this way: if I were to start my career again, if I were to be reborn, and again if I had the option, I would again opt for the Indian Police Service and would like to be in this very profession, because I found that as an Indian Police Service officer, when at first I did not realize, at the very start of my career I had my doubts and reservations and misgivings, but as I progressed in my career I felt that this is a very strong instrument of, within the state, social service, and when you are with the central government, it gives you a tremendous opportunity to defend the country's national interests on a larger canvas. So, in both the areas, whether while serving in the state or serving with the center, I found this job very, very satisfying, very, very rewarding.
Moving on to the actual policing, my question is, should the registration of FIR take place as a matter of course? Recently we saw that it did not happen that way in the matter of wrestlers. What are the reasons, and what according to you would be the corrective measures?
You see, registration of FIR is mandatory, and the CRPC says that as soon as a complainant comes to the police station and if he lodges a complaint, it must be immediately registered. But in actual practice we have seen that there are a whole lot of complications, In fact, the British introduced the system in their erstwhile colonies, then, and which have since become independent. But in most of the advanced countries that I have seen, in US particularly, I noticed that whenever you go to a police station, response is immediate. In no time they will send a patrol car and somebody will come to the scene of crime, but they would like to do some kind of a preliminary inquiry before registering a formal report. They want to verify the facts themselves. I think this is a very good system, and while the response should be immediate, a complaint, if it is given in writing, it should be taken as it is. But when it comes to reducing that to an FIR, some kind of preliminary verification must be done, because there is a tendency in this country, and I think we have all seen that there is a tendency to exaggerate facts. And quite often we have seen complainants going to a lawyer first before going to the police station, and then the lawyer gives him all kinds of advice, so that very stringent sections of law could be applied in a particular case, and proportionately the adversary gets that much of trouble. So, I think it would be better if some kind of preliminary verification is done, and in a Supreme Court judgment in the Lalita Kumari case, while it said that the report should be registered, but it also makes a provision for preliminary verification in certain cases.
Now, I would request you to elaborate on this. On one hand, you have said that it should take place as a matter of course. Automatically.
That is the legal requirement.
Yes.
That is the legal requirement, but you would be more practical if some kind of preliminary verification would be done, because that would obviate exaggerated false reports from being registered, and factually correct reports, so that the police is not saddled with a whole lot of false and exaggerated FIRs being lodged by interested people, being ill advised by the lawyers. That is something which needs to be avoided, and in the present context this has been my experience, and I am sure it would have been experience of several other people also, that people tend to lodge highly exaggerated reports with sections which are not really applicable, but which are inserted in the complaint.
But should one understand that police then has power of discretion as with regard to when to, at what stage to register the FIR and whether to register or not? Because a normal common person, he is powerless.
No, he is not powerless, but you see, empowering him to such an extent that where you may have unintentionally touched a woman, and then you said no, you have molested her and raped her. That also you also a public needs to be protected against such false complaints. So some kind of preliminary verification should be done before the reports are lodged in the. And I have suggested this in my book also. A slight amendment in the CRPC. Will meet the requirements of just application of laws.
Okay. Moving further beyond this, how can the police contribute to a speedier disposal of criminal trials when they reach the courts, and also better conviction rate?
Look, conviction and trial, that is beyond the powers of the police. Police role is limited to prompt investigation of the case, collecting all the scientific evidence, sort of collating it very logically, sequentially and properly, filing a charge sheet in good time, and then submitting that to the court. With that, police responsibility ceases. Once it goes, the prosecution is generally independent now. The prosecution and the judiciary have to play their role. You see, the criminal justice system rests on 4 pillars, and for a good criminal justice, you have the police, you have the prosecution, you have the judiciary, and the prison system. All these 4 systems have to work, and they have to work efficiently. Then alone we will have a good system. So police, once the charge sheet has been submitted, police role would be limited to, you can say, producing the witnesses at the right time, not seeking any adjournments, and ensuring that any supplementary requests made by the prosecution for forensic evidence or whatever it is, that is made available. After that, they have to cooperate with the prosecution, and they must respond to any requests, suggestions or demands of the magistrate, judicial magistrate, or the High Court or Supreme Court, whatever it is.
Thank you very much. This brings us to the end of the first video, and in the next part we would be traversing to the police reforms. Thank you.